But like I said, let's circle back to David out in L.A. Now, since the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found dismembered and decomposing in the front trunk of a Tesla allegedly owned by singer David, real name David Anthony Burke, back in September of last year, we all have had a lot of questions. Today, answered some of those questions. Today marked the first day of a preliminary hearing that could last up to 5 days. This is where a judge will later decide if there is enough evidence for the criminal case against David to move forward to trial. But I gotta say, the details that were revealed in court this morning, this afternoon, they are both new and they are disturbing. Okay, prosecutors allege Burke stabbed Celeste to death in April of 2025 and then dismembered her body. And in what has been reported to be one of the most difficult moments of the day, the prosecution revealed what Celeste's remains look like when they were found at a tow yard in full view of Celeste's family in the front row. Here's how the Rivas family attorney described that moment.
There was an image of Celeste's torso and her head in the trunk of the car, and the prosecutor had to ask what it was because you could not tell it was a head. It was absolutely, it was deplorable.
Now, prosecutors claim that Celeste had threatened to expose the alleged illegal sexual relationship between herself and Burke before she was killed, that was the motive. Investigators say they found explicit text messages between the two, along with child sexual abuse material on Burke's phone. And a Los Angeles police detective testified that Burke's online shopping history showed that he allegedly bought a shovel, chainsaws, cadaver bags, heavy-duty laundry bags, cleaning supplies after he allegedly killed her. Now, Burke has pleaded not guilty to charges including murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, unlawfully mutilating human remains. He is innocent unless proven guilty. But we got to talk about what happened today. Joining me now with all the details, we have NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Entin and LA Magazine contributor Lauren Conlin. Spent the day in that courtroom. It's great to have you both here. Lauren, I'm going to start with you. What was it like in the courtroom for the whole day, particularly, though, when those photos were shown? Because that felt like the turning point.
Right. It was incredibly difficult, and I couldn't help myself. I kept looking over at Celeste's father in particular, and, you know, it's heartbreaking. And I actually didn't expect us to see images like that in the courtroom. I really thought maybe they would skip over that just because it was the preliminary hearings, but unfortunately, that's what set the tone. We saw these photos, I want to say pretty much an hour into the hearings, and from there it just got more and more disturbing.
And David showed no emotion, Lauren? Nothing to those photos?
So that was one of the more disturbing parts about this, Jesse. I did not see him tear his eyes away from that screen. He looked at the screen like he was watching a movie. I mean, to me, I have seen defendants in the courtroom when photos are shown or allegations are made, they either shake their head no, they look away. It's hard. I mean, the guy was staring at it like it didn't bother him in the least.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to have an effect on the judge, but if this was in front of a jury, got to wonder if that's going to have an effect. Brian, I think substantively something very interesting happened today. They started not with the tow yard. They didn't start with the crime scene. They started all the way back in 2024 when David first had this interaction with police about his relationship with Celeste, right? When Riverside County got involved, when she was a missing teen. And they showed body cam footage of their interaction with David. What'd you take away from that? What was that footage showing?
Yeah, they did. I mean, they showed up to his house because they were looking for Celeste, and they said that he was polite. He acknowledged that he thought she was 18, but someone else had told him that she was 13. And let's not forget, we're talking about a young girl here. It was something I kept remembering throughout the day. And as Lauren said, to see those pictures in court, Jesse, and like, you don't even really want to hear the details of it, but I mean, she was dismembered. She was in multiple bags. She had decomposed, and you had Celeste's parents sitting in the front row. Like, you know, sometimes, you know, they'll leave during those moments. They didn't leave the courtroom, and what would happen is that the prosecutor would turn around and sort of like whisper to them, like, okay, this is coming up next. We're about to put up this photo. And they would look down, but there were times they were looking. There were, and I was just thinking the whole time, like, what it must have felt like for them.
You know, Brian, I'm glad you said that, because sometimes we talk so much about the charges, we talk so much about strategy, we talk so much about David. This was a young girl who lost her life in brutal fashion. Yes, she's innocent unless proven guilty, but it doesn't take away what everyone saw in that courtroom and what happened to her, which, Lauren, I was following your reporting online, and you said something really interesting. All the testimony and evidence regarding the alleged purchase history of David. So after they claim that he killed her, I listed all the things. You said the order of these alleged purchases may tell you something.
I did. I decided to just list the purchases in chronological order, and you know, he started by, let's say, ordering a shovel, and then he ordered a couple of chainsaws, and then we see the burn cage, and then we see a burn-resistant mat. So in my opinion, and this is pure speculation, I was kind of thinking, okay, was he changing his mind about how he was going to allegedly dispose of the body? And I just want to go back really quick to something that Brian was touching upon, the body cam footage when the police came to David's home looking for Celeste initially in February of 2024. We were actually able to see the photo that he had of her on his phone. And I gotta tell you, I was so disturbed by this photo because he was 18 at the time. She was in 6th grade in this photo. She looked literally, I mean, I think she was 12. She looked 10 years old to me. She's in a Batman sweatshirt, and I'm just like, guys, this is a child. We are literally talking about a child.
Yeah, and that goes to the sex crime charge that he faces. That goes to the motive, right? Lying in wait, killing a witness, killing for financial gain, that he had to make sure that she couldn't expose him. That's the allegation. But this goes to another point. One of the things we were looking out for, Brian, in this preliminary hearing, defense has an opportunity to question these witnesses. We finally got a sense of where the defense is going in their strategy. What did you learn?
Well, a couple of things. I think they're going to try to poke holes in the medical examiner. I think there's going to be questions about, I mean, the body was so badly decomposed. I found the money to be interesting, and it wasn't something I had heard a lot about until today, Jesse. I mean, that he had made a lot of money, $10 to $11 million in just a couple of years, had all of these managers managing his money. His mom was very involved. The prosecution is trying to paint this picture that he had a lot to lose if word got out about this underage girlfriend, or whatever you want to call her, because she's a child, that he could lose everything. But I also sat there thinking today, could that also be part of the defense? Because they were talking a lot about how he didn't know about the money, that it was all these other people who were in control. And I wonder if they're going to go down that path more if there is a trial, like,
I mean,
try to poke a hole in that motive.
He knew he was doing well. He knew he was doing well. But Lauren, I'll give you about 30 seconds. What about the idea of questioning what was tested, what was not, the DNA? Was it clear, you know, were they trying to say, you can't say exactly what was used to kill her or dismember her?
Well, Blair Burke was definitely poking holes with the second witness, the lead detective, Detective Byers. She kind of said, look, you guys didn't test this cadaver bag, or you didn't log this into evidence. And he said, well, we couldn't. It physically could not be logged because of the liquid, because of everything that happened with the decomposition. So they took off the handles and the zipper, and his lawyers honed in on that. There's a few other things they honed in on. But to Brian's point, at the end, they wanted to make it known that it was David's mother who managed the money and not David. Look, and that was definitely a specific reason.
Big picture, it's going to be an uphill battle for them to convince this judge there's not enough evidence, but you're seeing maybe sampling of what a trial will look like. Lauren Conlin, Brian Entin, thank you both so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.